Well, folks, my bet is that you've never seen anything like that. Yes, it is a rifle. Yes, it is a very, very expensive rifle. This is a Walther WA2000. Back in the days when there was East and West Germany developed this rifle as a sniper rifle. It's quite different than anything else out there. First of all, it's a bullpup. Secondly, it's chambered for 300 Win mag, and everybody knows how far a 300 Win will reach. The WA2000 has many, many unusual features in it. We're going to show them to you in just a second. The bullpup action is actually an old design. The bullpup design moves the action here instead of having it in a normal position of up here. This allows a shorter rifle, not necessarily lighter. You can see in the center of your screen, this is your barrel takedown nut. The barrel comes out of it just by unscrewing that nut. You have a trigger, the conventional safe and fire. It's on both sides of the gun. This is just a cover that covers up the barrel and the other associated gas action, parts of the gas action. Or the gas port's visible there. This thing on top of the framework is where a bipod clamps to it. And those of you who are familiar with the M14s, you'll recognize that muzzle brake. It's quite similar to that of the M14. Now the whole gun, the whole working parts of the gun, the barrel, the action and everything is actually suspended inside this framework. Makes it exceptionally accurate. Surprisingly, the Germans put wood on it instead of a synthetic. Now why they would do that on a military sniper rifle, your guess is as good as mine. This is a shell deflector. That's where you take it apart. The rear butt plate is adjustable, and by moving that button forward, the butt plate comes off and the action slides out the rear. This is the magazine. It's semi-automatic, holds 6. The magazine is probably the best constructed magazine that I've ever seen. The scope itself is a standard scope on the rifle. It's a Schmidt & Bender 2.5 to 10 variable. It has very thick crosshairs. It's meant for shooting people, not targets. It's difficult to group it much under an inch because the crosshairs are so thick in it. Notice the mount. This is what's called a rail mount. You have a rail going down the underside of the scope that's solid steel or aluminum, whatever they decide to make it of, and it clamps exceptionally strong. The scope tube itself is very rigid, resists bending, and the mount and the rail itself also assist in strengthening the scope tube. This is the famous Walther banner and the WA2000 identification. The caliber is identified on the side of the barrel. This is your action bar. That's the bolt drop. Note the hand grip is adjustable to fit the hand of the individual. I've found Federal Premium 200 grain soft points to be exceptionally good performers in this rifle. They can usually be depended on if you have a target you can see well about 3/4 of an inch at 100 yards, which is exceptional for any 300 Win Mag, much less an automatic, or semi-automatic I should say. Since this is a shooting show, let's get to shooting. I'm going to put 3 downrange in just about the speed that it takes to keep about an inch group. As you can see, the gun is very, very controllable. That's considerably less than an inch group. All 3 shots are touching. The gun's not fussy. I'm shooting 72 grains of Hodgson's 4350 here with the 200 grain Sierra Match King. This is also a very accurate load in this gun. They aren't all touching, but they're all well under an inch. This is a 165 grain Nosler ballistic tip. Those are all in the same hole. You might notice we carry our hand-loaded cartridges and lots of times a lot of our factory ammunition in MTM cartridge boxes. We use the MTM simply because they're the best. They're probably also the most expensive, but just recently on a trip to Australia I took a lot of cartridge boxes that I bought cheaply at one of the discount houses. And by the time we got to Australia, over half of them were broken, just in the airlines. 200 grain Sierra Match King. That's another one with the Sierra. There's the 3 that I said was in the wrong hole. I was wrong. Those are the 3 that I said was in the same hole. I was wrong. They wouldn't quite be touching. You can see the holes are actually separated. The reason the holes in the paper are so large is because it's very damp and foggy this morning. Paper's pretty damp. Still not bad shooting for 3 shots in about a second and a half or so. I'm sure by now that many of you are thinking that what good is it? It's impossible to shoot it offhand. Well, first of all, as a sniper rifle, it's very, very seldom used in the offhand position. However, it can be done. It's not comfortable, it's not great, but if you're strong, you can do it. The gun is quite heavy. Now those all hit a rock downrange. It's probably as big as a man's head. Now this gun takes quite a bit of getting used to, and I guess really the world never did get used to it. It was a commercial failure. It was never adopted by any army, not even the German army. Walther probably lost a great deal of money on it. When it sold here in the United States, it sold for $10,000. That's right, 10 big ones. Maybe that's why there's only 4 of them in the country. So long until next time.